So yesterday, the movie Fever Dream dropped on Netflix. It was a last-minute entry into the lineup of Netflix for the month. I did a upcoming horror movies of October 2021 video live, and in that video, I never saw Fever Dream when I was going through every fucking list I could, Netflix, Amazon, VOD, whatever. I did not see this on there. And then when I did the updated list, maybe a week later, I did find this because I watched some Netflix upcoming release video and that was on there, and I looked it up and it said it was horror, and I was like, oh, wow, okay. And I actually got a few more titles out of doing that as well, like Hypnotic with Kate Siegel. So Netflix really drops information on their releases really, really late. I didn't know anything about this film when I pressed play. Nothing. Outside of the title and that it was supposed to be horror to some degree. And let me tell you, horror, I guess you could say there's some form of horror going on in here, but very, very little. This film was just boring as all hell to me. At first I thought this was intriguing, right? Because it's very artsy and very pretty to look at. And it felt like it was going to have, that it was going to be this really cool, artsy film. And I was hoping that they were going to keep this intrigue alive and that they were going to finish strong. Because, and there's been a lot of, ecological horror lately, I've noticed. Whether it was in Madres, which I just reviewed 2 seconds ago. There's this ecological air to it. Whether or not that's what it ends up being, that's what the people think is happening. The water's contaminated or whatever. This is very prominent in horror lately, which makes sense, right? I mean, that's a big talking point of, politicians or people in the news or whatever. It's always about that the earth is falling apart and that everything is polluted and we're all going to die from it, right? So of course it's going to be at the forefront. It's like during the nuclear, threat, we were always worried about having. That's where the monster, the 50s monsters came from. It was always like they came out of the radioactive sludge of warfare. So this all makes sense, but this film it loses me anyways. I could definitely see people being into this. I could definitely see people enjoying this movie if they're into super, slow, poignant, dramatic with some horror elements to it. But, man, all intrigue I had in the first maybe 20, 30 minutes was just gone by about the hour mark because it was just so repetitive, right? It's like this narration between two voices that are having a conversation and reflecting back upon the past, trying to remember a specific thing. And it just keeps, I don't know, it is always pretty to look at. The acting is all very good, right? It's shot very well. So on a technical level, I think it's pretty proficient. But man, did I just check out. This is another film, just like Madres, where by the end, as much intrigue as I might have had in the first 20 minutes, being like, oh, this kind of almost feels like an A24 movie in a way. I just felt no connection to anything towards the end. I was so not invested in anything in the end. And that just doesn't make for a good experience, right? But as I said, I think there is an audience for this for sure. This has some pretty damn good ratings. This is definitely a critic's movie. I've noticed there's a trend of certain films that critics kind of gravitate towards, and it's that real artsy, risk-taking. I'm not really doing anything, but I'm sending this message through imagery. But there does need to be some form of entertainment for me. I know some people don't need that. I have friends who are all about the underlying message, the visual storytelling. And while there are movies that pull that off for me, they're few and far between. I have to be engaged for some reason or the other. And with this one, while I was initially, I lost it along the way. Something about it was too redundant for me. There's just not enough there. Like, I felt like I had figured out or known all the information that I needed to know by a certain point in the film, not very far into it. And then from there, it was just kind of repetitiveness till the end. So, yeah, there are good things in this film. But for me, and I know a lot of my audience are not going to like this movie. They're going to be bored out of their fucking minds. But, as I said, there is an audience for this, and I'm sure I'll see them in the comments defending it, and that's fine. But this one didn't work for me. And I'm thinking of all the ecological horror that I've watched this year. Like, there's so much of it, it's crazy. But this has that on it as well. This kind of plays with that. It also plays with, like, witchcraft, or voodoo, or whatever the hell it is. And yeah, it didn't work for me. And that's a shame, because I did really want to like this movie when it first started. I was like, ooh, this could be cool. This could be cool. This could be a real slow, artistic, beautiful, nightmarish romp that just kind of slowly descends into bizarre imagery and cool scenes and moments. But no, it just didn't go anywhere for me. But I do think everyone's great in it. I do. I think everyone's acting is great, and I think that it's super well shot. I really like the look of the film. I really like the performances and all that. It just checked out. So, anyways, I don't want to be repetitive now, so adios.